Well, how's everybody doing this morning? Hopefully good. So we'll go ahead and start. I can start discussing this while the last few people show up. So what's happened so far is I've cut the back and the two sides. Okay. Did that this morning. What I'm doing first is I'm going to go ahead and share this screen, and I'll show you what we're doing first. If I can find it. There it is. So we're doing this drill bit storage center, okay? So I've decided that depending on how much time we have, we may or may not get this whole thing done. We should, at the rate we're going so far. But I decided to do the upper cabinet first, okay? And the lower cabinet second. And as I was doing that this morning, I realized that, well, that probably wasn't the best idea because I need these hinges before I can do the little hinge mortises on the doors. But I should be able to do them after the doors are built, so it's not that big a deal. So we're going to go to the page that starts, so they start with the lower cabinet and the drawers, and I decided to do the upper cabinet first. So what I have so far is I have the back at 23¼ long and 17¼ wide. I'm going to double check it to make sure that's what we have. Okay. We've got 23¼ long, 17¼ wide. Okay. So I've also gotten the sides done. There really isn't any joinery on the back, so it's just there's no rabbets or anything like that. So I'm working on the sides now. And what we need to do are these shelf dados, the dado here that accepts the back, and then if you can see it, this is the little rabbet running along this edge that I'm talking about that would house, that would handle or take these piano hinges, these long strap hinges that are going to mount the doors, okay? So a couple questions for you guys. Do I necessarily need to lay out these dados on both pieces, or can I do it on just one? Okay. The second thing is, and I thought about this after the fact, is if I had half a brain, before I'd cut these two sides out, I would have left them together and wider than needed, and I could have done all these dados at the same time and then separated the two sides. That's one of those things I always tell you guys to watch for. It makes it a lot easier. No chance for a mistake. But we're going to use a temporary stop on the fence for the dado saw and just do these one after the other. Okay. So this is what we're getting ready to do. I've got all these dados marked out. Okay. So we're going to go over to the dado saw, and here's what I have so far, so you guys can kind of see it. Let me turn this card around. I need to be able to see the laptop. So this is one side, okay? I've got the dados marked out for the grooves. This long dado running along the edge is for the back, all right? And I also have my pieces labeled, thank goodness. You can't see it too well, but I've got my top left, my top right, and an arrow pointing to the outside face, because that's going to matter since I have a dado along the back edge. I don't want to accidentally put the dado on the front edge of this thing. So let's see if we can get started on this. We'll move the camera over to the dado saw. All right, and we'll get going. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, these dados, okay, the dados for the back are 1/2 inch wide and 3/8 of an inch deep, if I'm not mistaken. We'll double check. I always tell you guys to have your plans sitting there at the machine so you can double check things. So the back dados are 1/2 inch wide and 3/8 deep. The shelf dados are 3/8 deep and 1/4 inch wide. So we're going to start by putting a 1/4 inch stacked dado set in here. Now, I'm going to start posting, excuse me, little quizzes, little 3-5 question quizzes, something like that, on varying days of the week. So for example, if I get a chance this afternoon or at lunch, I'm going to put together a little quiz about the dado saw or about the project, okay? There might be a question like, what's the blade configuration for a 1/4 inch wide dado? Okay, in other words, what do you put in here? Well, you guys should know that. If you don't, let me explain it to you. The stacked dado set consists of 2 outer blades, okay? There is a distinct left and right blade, so you can't mess that up. Okay, we have a left-hand blade, and good enough, the paint on the outside, as long as the teeth are facing you, you're good. So here's our left blade. It's the right on your screen. Here's our right blade. So each blade represents 1/8 of an inch in dado width. So if we want a 1/4 inch dado, we're going to put just the 2 outside blades in. Now we cannot run this with a single blade in it. We have to have at least the 2 outside blades. When you tighten it, just snug it, because as soon as you turn the machine on, the rotational force is going to tighten that nut even more. All right, so we'll put that away. We'll get this in. You need to go 3/8 deep. Number of different ways you can do it. Easiest way is with this little height gauge. We find 3/8 on it as the second step. Bring the blade up, and got our 3/8. Why is that flashing? Hopefully turning it off, get it back up. For some reason we're flashing. Okay, so we should be good. All right, so I'm going to start with these shelf dados. All right, so in order to do that, I need a miter gauge, right? Because I need to put the long edge against the fence, okay? Now, since I have 2 sides, what I'm going to do is clamp a temporary stop to the face of the fence. You guys have all seen this done a bunch of times. And since I'm going to do these one after the other, what I've done is I've marked the dado locations for the shelves along the edge. And all I really have to do is line it up, line the tooth of the blade up, bring this over. Okay, so that should be my first dado. All right, so my depth is set, my location along the length of the board is set. I'm ready to go. Okay, we'll hold it tight to the fence. Now I can't just go to the second dado. I've got to bring this over, and I've marked on what surface I want these. I don't want to put it on the back side, so I'm going to go ahead and set this down. Got it at the right place. Okay, I'll shut it off. And I'll set up for the second one. Here we go, we'll cut it. And we're just gonna work our way up just like this. Set it, lock it. Set to the next one. Let's get this in a little bit so you guys can see. Okay. All right, we're set for the next one, the third one. Hold it tight to the miter gauge, tight to the table. We don't want it sliding. That's why this sandpaper is mounted on here. Make sure there's nothing sitting right here that's going to hold us away from that stop. Next one. it doesn't really matter how dead on accurate I am with each of these, as long as they're located in the same spot on both sides. Two more to go, then we've got the dado that's going to accept the back of the cabinet. It's a 1/2 inch thick. It's just going to be a 1/2 inch wide dado. A lot of tear out on the back of this. Splinters like crazy. Our next one. Slide it up. And here we go. And grab the other one. All right. So that's the shelf dados. So the next thing we're going to do is put the dado to accept the back in. We'll use the fence for that, not the miter gauge. Long edge against the fence every time. And we need a 1/2 inch wide dado. So if we need a 1/2 inch wide dado, how many blades, outer blades and chippers, do we need? Hopefully some of you are at least typing that down there. That's the question of the day. 1/2 inch wide dado, how many blades and chippers total? Obviously need 2 outer blades, right? Well, there's an 1/8. There's 2/8 or a 1/4 of an inch. There's 3/8. There's 4/8. There's our 1/2 inch wide dado. Just like before, just snug it. Don't wrench down on it hard. That's plenty. Now, according to our plans, dado is, where's our top section, front view, side section. 3/4 of an inch in from the back edge. So we're just going to measure in to this side of the teeth, 3/4 of an inch. It's the same depth as our shelf dados. Well, you really need to pay attention to which edge this is on. So I'm going to set it up before I do it. Here's our top right outside. So that means it's going on this edge. So I'm going to set it just like this. And I'm going to set it just like this. Okay? That's our back edge. That's our back edge. And we're ready to go. Back edge. Remember to hold it down tight when it's going over the blade. Clear the blade and come back. All right? So Let's take a look at what we got. Got Pedro in the waiting room here. Okay, so here's what we have. We have a left side and a right side. Hold that so you can see it. Okay. Now, let's see if the back fits in it. And it does. It drops right in. Okay. There's our other side. Drops right in. Okay. And there's our back and two sides. Okay? So, wow, that didn't take long at all. Okay? So, good. You guys are at least trying to answer the questions. I appreciate that very much. Do you guys have any questions about the cabinet so far? So you can kind of see it there. Right? One thing you might ask, okay, let me move this a little bit. Okay, one thing you might ask, if you're a thinking person, let's zoom into that. Okay, is why is the back shorter than the two sides? Okay, let's take a look at that. There's a reason it's shorter than the two sides. Okay, so we're going to share the screen here. We'll take a look at the plans. Okay, whoops. So here's these little inset views are really important. Okay, they give us an idea of how these pieces go together. So this O piece right here, okay, is a mounting cleat. This is the top section, front section. Let's look at the side section. That's what we want. Okay, so M right here, this is the cabinet back. Okay, it's going to go into a dado that's 3/8 of an inch deep in the top piece, K. All right, so here's our K. Here's our top piece right there. All right. The bottom is going to fit into the exact same piece. In other words, the top and the bottom look like they're the same. The K, yep, they're exactly the same. Okay. So what we should have, if this dado is 3/8 of an inch deep, right here, this guy right here to accept it, and the matching dado in the underside of the top is 3/8 of an inch deep, then how much should I have exposed here? Okay. Let's see. Quarter. Okay. So that means 1/8 of an inch. All right. So that's going to work. So basically what we could do right now is the cabinet top and bottom are going to have the same dado, 3/8 deep, 3/4 in. So the dado saw right now is set up to do, let's go back to sharing. So it's set up right now, come on, to do these dados. So we need something, the overall length of K, come on. Why is this thing not working? Six by 18 out of 3/4 inch ply. So I'm going to move over the dados or the table saw real quick. If I can move this over there. Okay, and we'll get these guys. Post is in the way. Okay, so I need 2 pieces, 6 by 18 by 3/4 thick. Okay, so let's see what we got. Here's our 3/4 inch. So we need 18 inches long. I'm assuming we're square here. So we'll go to 18. And what do I need to make sure I do? Anybody? Bueller? Plans. Have your plans over there. Okay, I need 2 pieces. These are K, the top and the bottom. Find the cut list. Okay, 18 inches long. So we're set for that. These locked. 18. And they're 6 inches long, or wide, I'm sorry. I want you guys to tell me what I'm doing wrong. Put it in the comments. Everybody should answer. What's wrong about that cut? Hopefully you know what was wrong with the way I made that cut. Okay, let's go back to the dado saw. Exactly, long edge against the fence. Exactly. Thank you. Okay, so we're back at the dado saw. What we need, let's get our, there we are. So the dado that accepts the back, and that's milled on the top and the bottom, is the same dado that we put in the sides. Okay, so this is already set up for it. It's a 1/2 inch wide. It's 3/4 of an inch in from the edge of the board. All right. These guys done. Now, according to the plans, okay, according to the plans, let's pull them up. There's one more thing we have to do to the top and the bottom. Okay. Let's take a look at it. It's this rabbet here that accepts the sides. Okay. That rabbet is shown right here. Okay, this is looking from the front of the cabinet. This is K, what we just cut. Okay, so what we need is a 1/2 inch deep rabbet, 3/4 of an inch in. Okay, so our depth is already set, which is really good. All we have to do is add, so if we're at a 1/2 inch wide rabbet, the way we're set up right now, what do we need to add to the stack to get a 3/4 inch wide rabbet? Okay. So let's go back and we'll take a look. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. Okay. I got a little time left. Hopefully we can get these done. Okay. I am short a chipper, but we're going to make it work. So basically what I need is 2 more chippers, but I don't have 2 more chippers to make a 3/4 inch wide rabbet. What I do have are spacers. Don't drop it. That would slow things down tremendously. I'm going to add a spacer, put our chipper in, add another spacer, put our chipper in, and that should give us a 3/4 inch wide groove. And in this case, it is, excuse me, a rabbet. There's our 3/4. Try and get this on without dropping it. Tighten her up. All right. So, here are all the splinters. This is difficult for me. I'm trying to work quick, but I don't want to jack it up. So this is a rabbet. So we're going to do the same type of thing. We're going to put a temporary stop on the fence. Okay. And we're just going to set it. If that's 3/4 wide, I want it to come to the end of the board. There we are. There's our 3/4. Bring this up. See how it looks? There we go. Our dado is down because the rabbet, according to the plans, is on the same side as the dado. Make that cut. One on the other end. Same thing to the other one. Dado down. And there we go. So that should get us where we need to be. How much time we have? We still have about 15 minutes. Clean out some of this mess. This is really bad plywood. Okay, let's get it back over here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see it. Actually, it won't zoom out. That's about it. All right, let's see what we got. Hopefully this fits. If it doesn't, I'm in trouble, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clamp on that. Give me a second. Probably should have had these sitting there before doing this. Guessing. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Lay it down. Push this all the way up. Where we need to be, come on. It's just not working the way I want. Let's do it this way. Let's go a side at a time. That's a nice snug fit. little warped. No. Okay. So I'm finding out something that's terribly, terribly wrong. It looks like. Yep, there's something seriously wrong. So let's take a look at this. This stuff happens. So according to the plans, the cabinet back is 23 1/4 long. 23 1/4 long. Okay? The cabinet sides are 23 1/2 long. Let's take a look. 23 1/2 long. Okay? Unless I'm missing something, the back's not long enough to fit into these dados, right? So I'm flush up here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see what you're looking at. So the plans are wrong. Okay, cabinet's flush up here. Okay. And if you look at how much we have hanging out here, you'd think it'd fit, wouldn't you? It should. There's no reason it shouldn't. Slip right on there. Maybe they aren't wrong. Let's take a look at what we got. This thing does not want to fit on there. I might, it's going to fit. Need a longer clamp, guys. Why don't you grab a longer clamp when you were over there? Huh? I don't understand you guys sometimes. There we go. Clamp, clamp. Short, just right. So hopefully I haven't lost everybody. But, you know, this cabinet looks a lot smaller than it did in the pictures. I don't know about you, but it looks that way to me. All right, let's see if we can get done here. Last couple minutes. When in doubt, force it. There we go. One. Stick this other side on. Okay, get the other clamp. Yep, looks like it's gonna be all right. I should have brought 4. Why don't you guys grab 4 clamps? What's wrong with you? Okay. So that's close. I'll do some work on it, get everything clamped up and ready to glue up. I'll probably go ahead and glue it up unless there's something else I need to do, and I can't think of anything else we need to do. These rabbets along here that are going to accept the hinge, I think we can do once this thing's assembled. It's going to take me a little while to get the money together for the hinges, but hopefully that didn't suck as much as it sounded like it was sucking. And hopefully you guys at least, let me get somebody else. Hopefully you guys at least got something out of it. If it's better than sitting in the classroom